name is Margaret. I will be your broadcast engineer for today. Hi, I'm here with the wonderful Nick Hunter. Nick is a truly fantastic FileMaker developer. Seriously, he does so many really cool things. He really forces FileMaker to pretty much its max limits, and FileMaker has some pretty extensive limits, which is really quite awesome. I see this massive cord. So we appreciate it greatly, Nick. Seriously, it's fantastic. Let's look at our live stream schedule. So we have building extreme reports with FileMaker day 2 and day 3 this week, and then Monday, Tuesday through Thursday next week. We have an open FileMaker server Q&A Friday. If you have questions, now would be the time to stop by and ask them, please. So if you'd like to do that, I highly recommend it. Otherwise, we have this really awesome support report series that Nick is doing, which we greatly appreciate. So if you'd like to support the channel, I highly recommend it. We definitely keeps us going. So we have 100 plus hours of really high energy video training content, like little bite-sized animated pieces. Richard is a presenter, Nick's a presenter, Calvin, all the people that you know and have seen in the live streams, they all present during this course. It's mostly Richard. And it pretty much covers all the little bite-sized things you need to know to actually become a competent FileMaker developer in your own right. So if you're like, hey, I really want to get into the platform, but these live streams are confusing because they're not really designed for beginners most of the time, or I really want to I've got gaps in my knowledge I need to address, please feel free to grab that help support us, and you get a crap ton of content and training as a result. So please do that. Nick, what are we doing today?
Hello, everybody. Hello, Mouse. So are you good with your technical problem?
Yes, technical problem has been resolved, so feel free
Okay.
to go ahead.
Okay. So thank you for everybody for joining today. And so today is the day number two of this long series of the report, right? So
2 out of 9.
I want to take some time to to do the importation, because most of the time we have a report is following an importation, that we import stuff, we do stuff in FileMaker, and then we export data that we generate, right? So so the import is very important, right? Important, haha. Okay, so yesterday we discovered this import dialog we walked through the import dialog and try to explain the differences between the add and replace, and so, but most of the time we use the add feature, right? We want to import, right? So, and today I'm going to explain how to import data as fast as possible, right? And then ask the server to do everything else. Okay, so we do the importation, because as I said many times, we cannot say the server import, right? Because it's a bit complicated, because it could have worked if we could have been able to put a CSV file in the container, export it on the server, and then import it. But we cannot do that, because we cannot export from a field. We cannot export field content on server. So that's why we need to do importation most of the time locally on the server, on the client. But we can split the burden, right? So what we want to do here is so I have a sample file. So I spent pretty much half the day to do that. So hope you appreciate the effort, because sometimes, I don't have the time to build a sample file, so I'm doing a little bit as I can. But today I want to do something, right? And I'm going to, this file is going to evolve as we advance in the webinar, right? So here we have a school, and we have our courses, okay? And we have teachers, and we have, we have courses, classroom, teachers, right? So we have things like this, right? Standard, right? So, and we have categories. We have categories of teachers. Yeah. So what I want to do, so I have 17 courses, right? Calculus, marketing, FileMaker Pro coding. So I have courses, and I want to import, 200 teachers, because I'm a big school. Okay. So I have 200 teachers, but I have guests, and I have interim, and maybe I have an history. So you have 200 records in the teachers, right? So you want to import this, okay? But we want to import the data, and we want to have many things happening, post-process. So we split in two parts of the process. So because we have many things happening when we import teachers, right? So first, when we import teachers, here you can see I have a bunch of relookup coming. Okay, I have relookup. Okay, I have auto entry calculations, right? So this, when you import, I showed you that yesterday. When you import, you don't want that to happen right away. You don't want that to happen right away. You do that later. You post-process, right? So I'm going to explain you how we do that. But you will see that when we import stuff, we do want stuff to happen when we import. So there's stuff you want, stuff you don't want, right? So here, for example, in my example, so I have a teacher file, but I want to import nothing, right? So it's the first name, last name, the category, and the course number, because the course has a number, It's not an ID, it's a course number, okay? It's something like this, right? It's a course number, okay? So it's not an ID, totally different. I'm going to explain. So when I import this, okay, we saw that I have a bunch of auto entry calculation and relookups, right? And some I want to happen and some I don't want to happen. So here in that gear, we have all the lists of everything, everything that has an auto entry, like yesterday I showed you, right? That everything that is here in that auto enter, okay? If you have something checked here, anything will appear here. The field name will appear in that list. So here, there's things that I want to happen and things I don't want to happen, okay? The first thing I don't want, many things I don't want, the full name reverse. So the full name is a combination of the first and the last. I want to do that later. I import the first and last, and then I'm doing everything else. Then based on the category name, I'm going to get the ID of the category, but I want that later, right? The initials, the initial of the guy, like Nick Hunter, NH, I want that later. And then the ID of the course, I don't want it right now, I can do later. And the course name also, I don't want that, it's okay, I can do that later. What I do want right away, right? I want right away so you got teachers. I want that to happen. I want the main, the parent key UUID. I need it. I want that to happen immediately, right? Because that is very important. So I want to do that now. But it's not that big because it's just this. It's just getting an ID. So this is not going to slow down a lot, okay? And I want the import session, but I'm going to explain that later for why I need that, right? But for now, we said, okay, out of all of those, I want only those two to happen while I import at the moment of importation, right? So here, what I want to do, okay, there are many things we want to do. So first, we want to import the data. But I know that because I observe many of you guys and, I talk to you guys and stuff like that. And I noticed that when we import data, we always struggle to retrieve what has been just imported. right? You import something, and okay, so everybody comes with his strategy. Some people put a tag, like a 1 in a field. Some people, retrieve with their, the creation date, right? But that doesn't work well, because if you import 2 or 3 times the same day, or 10 times, how that can be working? Some people use the timestamp, but the timestamp is not good, because the timestamp won't be the same. The first record and the last record, you will have a lapse of time, so the timestamp will increase, right? So that is not going to happen. It's not working well. Okay, so all of those strategies are not working well. What I want to do, I want to create what I call a session record. No, that means I want a record that tells me that, for example, a user that day imported X number of records using that script. And I want that record, right, to have an ID. And all the imported records that goes with that action, like this, we have our import session, right? The import session. I want for each record here, I will have an ID, and I want all the record I'm going to import to get that ID, and then I will be able to link that record here, right, with all the imported record at the moment I did that. And then I have a lovely, beautiful show records, right? And then I'm going to be able to see all the records are imported, right? So let's do that. Okay, and that's why now you understand why I want in my import to get automatically the ID of the session I'm in. Okay, so pretty much the demonstration of what I want to do, right? So I'm here and I want to import teachers. So I'm clicking here. I have a script running, and here automatically, so going this. Oh, sorry for that. I should have done that on the server. Sorry. Okay. No harm's done. So of course I want that to happen on server. Okay. So you remember we said that we want to split in two, one part locally, one part on server. So I click here, I import my record, and then boom, plah, that's it. And I have plenty of stuff happening. And you saw the replay stuff, but when it was not on server. So everything happened on server. So I have my teachers, 200 teachers. I have the IDs, everything filled, right? I have my classroom, for example, if I go there, I have the teacher, yeah. I have the category, and I know, for example, that out of my 200 records, I have 27 administration, 22 external, 36 interim. I have those calculations. Also, I know that, okay, in that classroom, I have free course and stuff like that, right? So I have information happening, okay? Okay, so how that works. So how I could import data locally very fast. We didn't see the dialog for 200 record. I am on server. Okay. So on server. So I import 200 records, and then I let the thing go on server. So how it works. First, as you know, we need to prepare everything. So when we create a script like this, and we have things happening downstream, okay, the first thing you need to do, right, is to prepare everything you need. Okay, I need, yeah, because I want this. I forgot to show you. I want this. That day, at that time, Nicholas Hunter, 200 records, 100 of second, we're using the script 001. And this is the record I imported. Okay, the 200. So I want many things. So I need information. I need the guy. I need many things. I need the script name, right? So I need to prepare myself. So here I have the current user. So I get the account name. I want to know the current user. The current timestamp, yeah, because I want to know when I launched it, right? So I want this, that the current timestamp. I want this timestamp when I started, right? I want the current script name, yeah, because this is the script I'm going to use, right? So I'm getting the script name. I don't type it manually. I just said get script name, right? And this is where it's interesting. I want to generate an ID upfront. I'm generating one ID upfront, and I get it. This is my ID. This is the new session ID, right? So I get a UUID. I have my ID. Then I like to do that because it tells the people what's happening. I open a new window as a CalStar window. So this will be the new window. This is a new window, and I'm going to show this, right? So I'm going to explain to the people what I'm doing. I'm importing teachers. So you open a new window that goes to a layout that points to the table where you're going to import. So I open this new CalStar window, card style, and that window is pointing to the table where I want to import the data. Then this here is to force FileMaker to refresh the CalStar window, because when you have a new window and then immediately an import behind, sometime you might happen that it's not showing nothing in that window. So to force, and refresh not working, to force the refresh, you put a pause of tenths of a second, and that's it. That will like freeze it, and let's FileMaker to display. And then I do my import. So I import my stuff from my file. So I do my import, and you see that these two are on the same table. So that means the import will happen when I am positioned already in the TO2 table. So I'm in the TO2 table, and I'm importing my teacher's CSV into the TO2 table, right? And here, this is what is interesting here. Why I do need that? Because I generate this ID is generated here. So I have it in a variable. And then in the teacher table, I'm saying, okay, on the auto entry calculation, put the ID that is in the variable. So then I'm creating records with the current ID of the session where I'm in. I'm creating this ID because each time I'm importing, I want a different session. I want a different ID. Each time you import, you have a different ID. So you generate that ID, you import the records, all the records will be tied to that ID. So I'm importing this, right? Asking to execute the two auto enter, the two fields, the parent key and the session ID, right? And then I need to know how many records we imported. So I open the window, import the records, and then I'm saying, okay, by the way, all the records I just imported, how much are they? And I'm storing this here, right? I'm storing this here. Why? Because this guy here, I need to know how many records I have. So instead of doing a complicated, or heavy count function and stuff like that, I just import it. So, okay, just store, a variable, and then you store the found count, right? Because each time you import data with FileMaker, the imported records are like a found set. FileMaker isolates this bucket of records in a found set. So we know that just after an import, we have 200 records, okay? And then I close that new window. So this stuff happened while I am showing the 202 teachers, right? And then what happened? Okay, so far so good. So far we still okay. So then what happened? I'm taking, right, all the information I just collected. This, all the information, the number of records, the new session ID, the current script name. So I collect all of those things in the list, right? So pretty much this, I'm going to show you, we're going to, doing the debug. So I collect that in the list, all the information I need, all the information I need, this, and this, all of them, okay? And then I'm executing a script on server. So I say, okay, right? I just import those records, right? Just import those records. And I want to execute on those records a post-process treatment. Pretty much, I want to do all the auto entry calculation and the relookup. I want to do that later on server, right? So I have a lovely script on server, which is not that big, right? But here I just see that I have an error, so I'm going to fix that error. I mean, I forgot to do this, so I'm going to do it. I'm in TO2 teachers in position. Okay, fixed. So when you ask to perform a script on server, most of the time we need parameters, right? So here, this variable here, I like to do that, right? I'm going to explain to you why. So I have a variable where I'm sending all those, I'm creating, I'm piling up all of those things in a variable, and then I'm putting the variable as a parameter of the script, right? For debugging is cool. For debugging, which parameter you're going to send to the script, okay? Otherwise, you have no way to know, right? I mean, no way to know if you forgot one or stuff like that. It's not that easy. That is very easy. You have a variable and you can see, okay? So I'm sending all those information here, and now I need to take out all those information, right? So I'm going to send pretty much 5 values. I'm sending 5 values here. We have 5 values: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 values, okay? So here I'm taking the script starts and say, okay, what is my parameter? What do you expect from me? Okay. First, I want the current user. So I'm sending the current user. I want to extract the current user. That will be the value 1. Then the timestamp, when did script started? I need that. Okay. So I am doing that, and that the value, the parameter number 2. Then the script name. Why I need the script name here is I need the script name because this is not the name of the script I want to see. Because this, if I say get script name at that moment, I will have the name of that script, but it's not the original script. The original script is this one, right? So I'm sending this over there, the script name. The session ID, remember, that will be the way I can retrieve all my records. I just imported 20 records, 50 records. The server has no idea which record are. I need to tell them, I need to tell the server, remember, I just imported 200 records using that session ID, and those records has a field with that ID stored inside. So now I'm going there and I'm saying, okay, this new session ID, I need it, right? Because I'm going to retrieve those information. And now I'm storing also the number of records because I need to know that the import, when I imported, I know how many records I have. I don't need to do a calculation again. Okay, I have it. So I'm going to explain that why I need all of those things, right? And then I'm starting this. I want to know how long this will last. I need to know how long this script will last, right? I need to know that. So I put a variable with the get time, millisecond, right? And then we are going to do some calculation and we get how long it takes. So I'm going to show you, but this is not important right now. Most important right now, okay? So we collected all the information. So you see, each time I'm doing a script, I'm collecting everything up front, as much as possible up front, and then I'm reusing later. Taking up front, I have everything, and now I can continue. So what do I want to do now? Remember I just imported 200 records, and I want to do, I want to post-process things. I'm going to the layout teachers. The layouts, but remember what I told you many times, that I have layouts for that purpose. I call that context layouts. So what are those layouts? They point to the main occurrence, the anchor, the anchor buoy. They point to this, and this. They point to the anchor buoy, okay? But they are very simplistic layouts, like a table view. That's what they are. They're table views, but they point to the main table, okay? Like the data entry layout. But I don't want to use that layout because sometimes, we have triggers, we have things happening, the layouts are big, we have a lot of objects. We don't need that. Just I need a layout to crash on, to land on. I don't need a layout to do anything, click. I won't click, I won't see anything. That will happen on server. But I do need the layout to be on the TO2 table. Okay. So I'm going to that layout, to that table view layout, right? And then what I do, I want to retrieve the 200 record I just imported, because maybe I have 2 million records in my solution, in my teacher table, but I want only the 200 that just imported. I don't want to treat the others, right? Just those. So because I have the ID that I created when I imported the records before, right? Now I can go, the server can go, okay, thank you, you gave me the ID. I can perform the find in the teacher table, look for the import session. I have the ID. I'm going to retrieve those, right? And then what you do? Okay, we do all the post-process, okay? So we do the relookup. So I need to relookup. So you know the relookup technique, right? So we have relationship using parent keys, and I'm telling FileMaker, okay, based on that parent key, get me all the information, all the lookups, process all the lookup that we have, this one, this one, this one, okay? And to do that, I need to look up on 3 different fields to get all the info. There's a relationship using course number, another one using category, and another one using the foreign key of course. So I need those, okay? I need to have those happening. I will have done that while importing the data, but I didn't want, because I wanted to speed up the importation, right? Because on server, those things will be much faster. If you import and you do that at the same moment, that will be slow. Import as fast as possible to get you out of this, and then the server will do it. And I do something, I use a trigger technique to trigger all the auto entry calculation. So why the trigger technique is a good technique for that? Actually, I invented that 20 years ago for that reason. I don't want to, the auto entry calculation. You need to have a modification, a creation or a modification to trigger the auto entry calculation. But I already imported the records in my table. They are already imported. And I cautionally and willingly ask the import to not doing it. So now, I want to do it on server, okay? So I'm using the trigger. So what the trigger? So I've shown that many times, but I'm going to explain again. Any auto entry calculation, I'm talking about this guy here, right? Auto entry calculation, this guy. To trigger to work, we need to have at least one field involved in the calculation to be triggered. So let's say you use 5 fields, right, in that calculation, and you modify one of the 5, and boom, it will trigger again the auto entry calculation. But that works fine when you are, locally. And the problem also, so because it's not going to work when you have related records, when you use related fields, that won't work. You won't be able to trigger it, because the field you use to modify the field that will trigger the auto entry calculation needs to be in the table of the calculation, right? So to do that, and of course, I have 1, 2, 3 auto entry, 4. I have 4 auto entry calculation, 4. And I want to trigger them all at once. So I'm creating a field, not a global, a real field. I call that last modification. I explained many times for why, but I'm going, it's because I'm going to store it. I'm going to replace all the records with the current timestamp, So each time I'm doing a trigger of the auto entry calculation, I will have at least the last date, the last day, and the last time I did it. And that helps for debugging. But in all my auto entry calculation, I have put the trigger into a let statement. So that means this trigger field is part of every auto entry calculation. It is there on the let. It has no function. I don't use it for anything in the calculation. Just I want that field to be there. I want that field to be there as a trigger of an auto entry calculation, right? All of them has this trigger. So of course, because this trigger is part of all the auto entry calculation, if I modify that trigger, all the auto entry calculation will be processed, executed. Okay. So that's why I have this replace here. I'm replacing one field and all the auto entry calculation will be triggered. So if we have questions.
You collect get current time UTC milliseconds to know time took.
Current time to what? No time talk?
Sorry. Do you collect get and then parentheses current time UTC milliseconds parentheses to know time took?
Yes. So I'm going to explain, but I'm collecting this at the start. At the start, I'm collecting this. And then I'm collecting again at the end. And then I'm doing end minus start, and I have how many time it lasts. So that's the only question we have?
Yes, it is. So.
Okay. So when I'm done with this, it's not done. Because, okay, yeah, I've done the post process, right? But I want other thing to happen. Okay. I want other thing to happen. I want, for example, to update all my categories because I want to know, I want to know here how many teachers I have for each categories. I want to know that. Again, the same technique here. I have a number of teachers and I have a trigger and I do a count of whatever teacher has this category. That's easy. Okay. For each categories. So I want the server to do that. So what the server does is he go to the context layout because remember I have a context layout here, So I have context layout for teacher category. I'm going to that layout, showing all, and I replace my timestamp, And then it's not done. I want to go to the classroom and I want the same thing, So I'm going to the classroom. I want to know, the number of teachers I have in the classroom, right? So I have a trigger and I'm counting how many teachers I have, in the classroom, right? Oh, that's why it doesn't work. Haha. Just debugging. Haha. Okay. And I do the same for the course. I want to know, right? In the course, I want to know things in course. For example, I want to know how many teachers I have in that course. But I just imported 200 records, so I need that to be updated as well, right? So I need to update many things, right? We need to update all of this. And when I'm done, I say, okay, you remember, so I'm answering the question. I'm taking, okay, start, that will be a number. And I'm taking whatever the number I have now, the duration is whatever the current one minus the current I had at the beginning, and that is my duration. Then I'm going to the import session table. So I'm going there and I'm creating a record and I'm filling that record with all the information I need, the current timestamp, current user, how many records I have, the current script name, and here the duration at the end, because I don't have the duration before by definition, right? So I'm creating a new record in that layout. That's why I want to execute that on server, because I don't want to hear about this, so that's why I'm sending all this information to the server. Say, okay, deal with it, do all of this for me, and I don't want to hear from about you, right? Go away, you're on your own. Okay. So if you want, we can have a kind of a test, but not doing it on server, just doing, So I want to, no, first I want you to see how it is on server. So we click, we import teacher, boom, bam, done. That's it. And now I have 18 because I had 9 before, now 18, right? Because now I have 400 because I imported twice. And if I go there, you can see that at 417 I did one, and at 445 I did another one. So that are my 200 record of the first, and that had my 200 record from the last. Okay? So you get the point now of this ID session, that we can retrieve the information and check. Right? So let's do this now. So that was on server. See, click, bam, boom, terminal. So let's do it not on server, locally. And let's debug it. We collect all the information, right? I'm opening a new window, and I'm showing importing teachers. So I'm telling people, oh, you're importing teacher. But I am currently, right now, I am on the table the layout table. I am in T02 teachers. I was in course, now I'm in teacher, okay? So I'm in teacher because I am in that window. I'm importing. Boom. Now I know I have 200 records, okay? I have 200 records, so I click here, and I close that window. So I'm done pretty much importing, right? And here what happened? I'm setting my parameters. So now I can see my parameters. So that's why I'm doing this, because now I can see I have Nick Hunter, the timestamp, the script name, the session ID, and how many records I have. So for debugging, it's cool because you say, okay, yeah, I'm good. Sounds good. Sounds great. Sounds correct, right? Looks correct. And now I have the script going on. So the script, what does the script do? It gets back all the parameters, right? Pum, 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 pum. So now I go there and I can see that I have all my parameters, number of record, session ID, the current user, the timestamp. I get everything back from the server, from the script. And I start. So that's what I get, right? Every millisecond that change, count, right? Then I go to the layout and I perform a find, because here I have 600 records. I'm perform a find, but that is the import session that the 200 record I imported with that import session 200 out of 600. Right? And you can see many things are missing. I don't know the course, the full name is not there. I don't have the ID of the category. I have many things not there. I do have the parent key because I said I want that to be generated when imported, and I do have the importation. But now I want to replace my trigger, right? So I'm going to replace the trigger. So I have things coming, but look how slow it is. That was a click on the server. Look how slow it is now. On server, we didn't even see it, right? So we wait. That for 200 record. Imagine when you have 2,000. Okay. Now I'm doing a relookup. So the same. So you see, so the difference between server and non-server. Server is instant, and on clients, this is what we get for 200. That's why I did 200, because I want to do a much larger, but we will be waiting for long minutes. So I said I cannot do that. Right? Hopefully, it will be fast. So if we have questions.
We don't have questions in YouTube or Twitch. And there's a couple questions in Discord actually. So the duration you're recording here is really the duration of the post-processing time, not the actual import time.
No, it's not the import time. We can do for the import time as well. I can show you that, as we can do the same as the import time. I will show you. Because the import time is I need to know the time on the server, because we don't see anything on server. We don't know. So if something wrong, you don't see it. If it lasts 2 hours, for example, that's something wrong, right? So if he tells you, if you see 2 hours, something wrong, right? But when you import, you know how much it takes, because you were in front of this of your computer, right? But I understand the question, so I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to modify and how to add both times. So to accumulate both, right? To have import and the post process. So now you see it's filled up, it's full. Okay, I have all my information. Now I'm going to the category. I replace, and boom, it will change all of this. Boom, it changed. I go to the course, show all, replace the fields. So he's going to do the same replace here. He's going to change here the numbers. Okay. Didn't change. I don't know what this one doesn't work right. And the classroom, show all, replace, and I have the new. Then I'm setting the duration. So I have the duration. Going to the layout, I'm adding a new record, and boom, I have the new. The duration was 4 minutes because it wasn't on server. So, and to be honest, I was doing the step by step. So, okay, but you can see the difference, right? You see the difference? Okay. Close the window, and I'm done, right? So that was what happened. So you do sequence by sequence, like the tung, 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 on server is going, is doing the thing for you. So if I want the same thing on server, to do the comparison, import. Boom. Done. Everything that was the name, taking minutes, it took no time. So if we don't have any question, I want to do for the time,
We've got a couple, not
Okay.
unfortunately, but it's going to take
No,
up
no,
time.
no.
Thank you for asking questions, everybody. So every
No, no.
record imported has an ID session field? ?
yes, so in the teacher, where I import, right, I do have an ID session, I do have this, is where I'm storing this ID because now, as I said, thanks to that technique, you can see all the records you imported. And that's cool. Let's say you say, oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I made a mistake. I import 2,000 records and I mix match a field for or whatever, or I import the wrong file. Okay, what you do? Okay, I want to delete those. I go there and I do delete. Those 200 out of 800 are the one are imported with that session. 7204. If I click here, those is another session, right? So that technique here by itself is good to know because when we do import, and we can use the same table. You can use the same table for different scripts. Sometimes we have different script, different import scripts. So you can right? So that's why I'm using this. So yes, I have a field. Yes. Next.
The CSV file is stored on the server local disk.
No, it's on my computer. It's here. That's what I'm saying. The import happened on my computer on the client. That's what I'm saying. It was a hybrid between import locally and post-process on server to make everything faster, right? To make everything faster. Something that, so yeah, because, we want to do that. So the demonstration here is to import as fast as possible, doing nothing at the importation. We do nothing at importation. We import, run, right? And then we ask the server to do all the post-process, right? Because the server I'm executing and I'm putting the auto completion off, the wait for completion off, because I don't want to wait. I don't need to wait. Do your post process when it's done, right?
Next question is, would it be advantageous in some circumstances to send the CSV file to the server to have the server do the import?
You cannot do that. Yeah, you can. Yeah, okay. If you have access to your server drive, and you can put on one folder on your server, and you can do that, but you need to tell your server the name of the file, and it needs to be in the location on your server accessible. First of all, that's the breach of security first, because you open pretty much access to the hard drive of your server. you give access. But it would have been great to do that, but it's a bit complicated. So that's why we most of the time you don't want your user to drag a folder, to drag a file somewhere, and then you click on import. Yeah, I use that sometime, but mostly because of on my side to do my stuff, to do client work on data and stuff like that, but not on the production, not on the user production stuff, right? It's not something I recommend. The best is to do what I'm just doing here. You do an post process on server, right? So if we don't have any question, I want to do the start time and stuff like this.
I think you're good. Yep.
Okay.
The questions have calmed down.
Okay, so let's do the start time duration, right? I'm going to send the duration. That will be, I start here and I end here. So I have the duration of that import, right? I'm sending the duration to the server. In the server, I'm collecting the duration. So that will be the previous duration. I'm collecting it. And that is the 6th parameter, right? And just what I'm doing is this. The real duration is whatever this plus the previous duration. That means the previous duration was, I don't know, 10 milliseconds, and this one will be 10 milliseconds, so it will be 20 milliseconds, right? Because I'm doing whatever this one plus the previous, right? So let's run it. Okay. So the world thing takes this 6 tenths of a second, right? So now I'm curious to see something. If you guys you let me, I'm curious to see if I don't do this at all, right? And I just import saying I want everything at importing, right? Just want to see the difference. But I don't have a lot of records, so it won't be a big difference. But it is. See the difference? Okay, it was hundreds. It was 100. So yeah, but what I need. Okay, so let's do it again. Let's do it again. We do this, right? We do this just to get this, but we don't do this. So we do nothing of this, right? Just to get how long it takes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but it was because I was on the cache, but it's okay. It took like, on the 200 records, and I have nothing that happened because I can show you. Let's pause this a second because I learned that we can pause sharing. Haha. I tell you why. This technique. I'm going to show you because this is a demo. Okay, it's a demo. It's not like, but I can show you the real world. I can show you the real pain. I'll show you the real pain. So, because there's a reason out of this, right? So you have files. Can resume. You have files where you have stuff like this. Auto entry calculation, all of this. Okay? You know what I mean? So it's not the same. So we have an expression in French. We say, okay, it's not the same mayonnaise. Okay, that, the sauce, mayonnaise, mayo, the mayo sauce. Okay. It's not the same story. When you have to do all of those things, and I'm talking about something like this. This is not the same deal. It's not the same deal. It's not just get current date, right? We have a lot of things here. We have a case with related fields, related data. We have millions with an S. We have millions of records, and we have this happening. We have a lot of things happening. We have a lot of, things. We do comparison. Look, when you have something like this, and we do this here, and we have the same here, right? So we have a little bit less here, but still, we have a lot of what's the name? The new grade, the same. We have something. Okay, we have a case like this. Okay. So you understand why you want to post-process, because the people doing this, the processing, the importation of data on 2 million, 3 million records, it was taking like 7, 8 hours. 8 hours, right? And I turned that into 30 minutes, right? So believe me, the post-process, it's a good thing, okay? I couldn't use stuff like that for the demo because I would have drowned you behind the complexity of this stuff, okay? It's extremely complex. It's comparison. It's kind of like a AI, you know? It's like an AI, you know, it's very complex interaction with this. Okay, we have a lot of things going on, and so, but you understand when you have as as much as you know things going on, right? Things like this, and then you have all those things happening, you know, all those auto entry calculation, right? You don't want that to be you want to import the data blank, I mean pure. You import data because I'm importing a little bit. I'm importing very few information. First name, last name, date of birth, address, zip codes, 2 or 3 information, and that's it. It's very simple. So the importation happened very fast. I can show you the script. Can show you the script of the importation. So import, you know, like this one. Yeah, I don't import much, you know. I don't import much. A little bit of stuff like this. I don't import much. But here, I do nothing. A little bit. The creation date, this I need, this I need. Session ID. So I'm eating my own dog food because I'm doing all this demo out of this, right? So of course, it's again, if you import 200 records, first name, last name, like I've done in the demo, you don't need all of this. But if you have a heavy import, right, something big, the post process. But what I show you, it's valid. Okay, so that's why I'm using a small file and small set because I don't want you guys to wait. Okay, do you want to wait 7 hours to see? You know, no. So that's why the reason is this. The reason is this: is when you have a big, huge file, you know, a big stuff, you want the post process to happen. Okay. So, question, no question?
We have a question. Just curious, when using the script debugger and the script is pausing at each step, is the duration calculation accurate, i.e., does it account for the pauses?
It account for the pause. So if you stay, you know, it count for the pause. If you pause this, he's still counting. He doesn't have any weight to you know to wait. No, it's okay. So tomorrow we start the real. I mean, we start the big stuff. You know, so we're going to. Where's my okay day 3? Okay. So because I'm 1 day ahead. Okay. So what I'm talking today, it's you know tomorrow we do the exports on server. So tomorrow I want to do the thing that somebody has talked yesterday about exporting from one file on FileMaker and importing on another one, but on server. So we're going to do that, you know. So it's going to answer a little bit of the question we had today. You know, we have two files on the server. We export from one and we import some, because tomorrow it was to explore the import export on server. Okay. So how to export and import on server. So
Hey.
okay.
So I think
So
we're
the
good.
hybrid importing, the hybrid importing, exporting, we're going to do that. Pretty much we're going to do the reverse of what we've done today.
Which will be quite
Okay.
useful, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
that would be cool. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much again, Nick.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!